Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nurses Outside the Box. Today I'm really with a nurse outside the box with Chris Caufield. He is the founder of IntelyCare and also on the Forbes Technical Council and has done a lot for nurses. So Chris, welcome. Welcome to Nurse Outside the Box. So glad to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me, Emery. I'm so excited for the podcast.
Yeah, I really when I got in touch with you first and like kind of started looking at everything you're doing, I'm like, wow, you've done a lot for nursing and a lot in entrepreneurship as well. So I always start with the question, right? What makes you a nurse outside the box? You want to just dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm a co-founder and chief nursing officer of IntelyCare. And what makes me outside the box is a nurse entrepreneur. I know that there's a lot of nurse entrepreneurs coming through the ranks right now, and that's something that I started about 5 years ago. And, I've had some great success. My company IntelyCare, we're a gig economy and workforce management solution for nurses and post-acute care facilities.
Right.
And we started that, due to the struggles that we were having, particularly me as a long-term care nurse. And I gathered some colleagues and some friends that were passionate about the issue. And we started off with me filling the first shift. And, now we're up to around 15,000 nurses serving close to 1,000 facilities around the country. So I think that just being a nurse entrepreneur and trying to tackle the big issues that I experienced and having some good success, that makes me outside the box.
Yeah, totally, totally. Why do you call yourself a chief nursing officer? I just picked up on it. I'm curious about it. I love it.
Yeah, I think when we were starting the company, I think as a co-founder, you're always trying to throw the highest title you possibly can and then hold on to it. So there all of the founders, kind of put their roles that we originally started off. And I think when I was deciding, what should I be in the company, and I considered chief nursing officer, I think for the first 2 or 3 years. I was really working on different types of projects around the company that was mostly related to operations and recruitment. And, over the last 2 years, I've really got to start focusing more primarily on the nursing component, the clinical quality, the education and the compliance. So I think that I chose the title for what my future profession or at least role in the company would be.
Mhm.
And when we first started, it was far from that. But I think I was looking at the long-term vision of what is a chief nursing officer doing at a large healthcare organization. And I was thinking that would eventually be my role if we're successful. And I think it's a good thing that now that's really my role. So it was a good pick.
Wow. So I'm curious about IntelyCare. What does it do exactly? Can you tell us a little bit more about it and how has it developed over the years? I'm curious about that.
Sure. So technically, there's a couple of different ways to describe Intelli here. We consider ourselves a workforce management solution for post-acute healthcare facilities, and that kind of takes a broad spectrum of what it means. We're a gig economy solution for nurses, so nurses can go in and pick up shifts at skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities. And on the other side of it, our facilities have a scheduling platform, and they are able to kind of transparently see the workforce that is the nurses that we're providing as a staffing agency. So we're a high-tech staffing agency. And when we start thinking about workforce optimizations and solutions, then we start adding different layers of, well, what other solutions can we provide for these healthcare facilities? So we're adding a couple different features that can help them schedule their own staff. We had a couple different features that can help them track credentials and track some of their nursing education. So in a sense, we're working on the vision of really helping and optimizing their whole workforce for skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities. But primarily our business is really staffing that last minute, that urgent need of a nurse when your nurse calls out at a small facility that doesn't have the resources to back up and provide your own per diem pool. So we're providing that nurse in our solution to fill that shift.
Wow, amazing. And if you look at everything you've done, right, in the past, you said a little bit about where you came from. Take us back over the last couple of years. What are some tips you would say to nurses who are curious about this whole entrepreneurship? I'm talking to more and more nurses who are like, wow, this entrepreneurship sounds really interesting, right?
Mhm.
What are some of the things you've learned? What are the things in that journey? What are some things that have been vital for you to learn? I'm curious about it.
I think it first starts with finding your passion. So for my story, I was a nurse. I was working at long-term care centers, and I was getting extremely burned out from working 16 hours and 20-hour shifts because somebody called out and there was really no one to come and replace that shift. So it was just me kind of stuck there. You weren't going to leave and abandon your patients. So you just kind of suck it up and kind of stay. So I tried a bunch of different things. I became a union leader, and we kind of, hold up these little cards that say it's illegal to mandate us. So tried working with the management. I tried to come up with a bunch of different solutions and different type of interventions that we could contract out, but there really wasn't anything there. So I think that's really the start as a nurse entrepreneur. If you're focusing on the nursing specific problem, is it really has to affect you, and you really have to be very passionate about it to really dedicate the time to trying to solve the problem. As a young entrepreneur, you'll be really working twice as hard as you would as a nurse. And that's not to say working as a nurse is an easy thing. It's extremely hard. You work long hours. But as an early stage entrepreneur, you'll be a lot of times sacrificing your family life and anything that you typically do in your life. You have to really dedicate yourself. So when we started IntelyCare, I think I was working 15-hour days and 7 days a week because we were staffing 24/7. So if I wasn't really passionate about the problem, I probably would have given up after the first 2 months of those long hours and having to cancel my plan. So
Okay.
starting with passion is extremely important. Then second is really finding the team around you. I think when IntelyCare started having success, we added additional co-founders to our team. So at first it was myself and another team member that was the director of IT of the facilities I was working at. We were working on building the solution for about 6 months to a year, and we were having some success. But I think when the magic started happening, and when when we brought in two other co-founders, and they brought their resources and they brought their expertise in, and we became a little bit more of a well-rounded team, some business, some sales, some leadership, a lot of different type of expertise that we brought in that really made us a well-rounded team. And as we really grew, I think that the stages of growth and success was really bringing on more team members that were as well passionate, but also had other experience that brought to the table. Because I think that it's you hear stories of CEOs and of founders that took their companies to $1 billion or $10 billion. And I just think to myself, I said, there's 100 other and 1,000 other people that are behind that one name, and they may get all the fame, but they didn't do the work. Their team and the expertise that they brought in really did the work to make their vision come to reality. And I think that's something that young entrepreneurs have to go out there and find some mentors that have had experience, that have already done this before, some other individuals that are just as passionate about the problem. Bring them in and see if they're really willing to make the sacrifices that is going to take your idea, your innovation to the next level.
Wow, that's a lot of tips. I love that. No, I love that for a lot of nurses to know that, right? Because I think we're so often thinking about entrepreneurship as going by yourself, right? And
Yeah.
doing it by yourself. But it
Yeah.
really is that that community, right? And
Mhm.
that team that makes a difference. So I love that.
Yeah, even if you're going to be a solo entrepreneur, and there's a lot of people that are very, very good at that solo entrepreneurship, you'll realize that there's parts of your role that you can bring on other members that will make you focus on the processes and steps that you're really good at, while
Mhm.
taking the steps that you could contract out or hire somebody on Upwork, or get a friend to join you, because your growth is going to be much faster, and the product or solution that you're going to deliver is going to be better because you'll have the time to focus on your strengths. And that's really the important, is focusing on your strengths, bringing some others to really help you grow faster and to be able to deliver your solution to more individuals or patients that need your service.
I love it. So now you're here today. You have a very successful company, right? I'm curious, what does your day-to-day look like? And then also bring us a little bit further into the future. I'd love to see what are your future plans in terms of your
Sh-
company.
Sure. So day to day, it's gone. It's like a roller coaster sometimes. I think as we built our company, I think that I've been focusing more on the title role, Chief Nursing Officer. So we have this staffing company, we have some technology solutions, and as a founder, I think that we've brought on some amazing team members that really are hyper focused on different divisions and different departments in the company. And I think that my focus now is really enhancing the quality, enhancing the nurse's life, enhancing different type of processes to really improve patient care. So it's ranging from the vision of where our product and our future should be, and also starting different types of innovations within our own platform. Something that we recently have been kicking off is animated education for our nurses and for nurses within our network. And I think it was a couple months back, March, April, we kind of took this to another level. We developed a COVID nurse training program, and we spent a good amount of resources, and my team, I think there was a team of probably about 10 of us that really tried focusing on this and how to get nurses prepared to go out and to get ready for COVID and what to expect with COVID, and how to have different type of infection control processes that were really specific based on some of the convoluted CDC guidelines that are really designed for administrators, and some, the nurses just don't have time to read all that stuff. So we went out, we designed a COVID nurse education course, and to our astonishment, we had over 500,000 enrollees and completions, ranging from over 30 different countries. So
That's
it
amazing.
was, yeah. So that those are the type of the projects that I'm kind of focused on, is how do we get into the clinical realm? How do we really affect nurses' quality of care? And as a co-founder of the company, I think what I'm good at, when I bring expertise, is the clinical side, and also starting new areas in the business that we can take from an idea and bringing
Yeah.
it to a stage that is good enough to really start some growth. But then, coming from the company we are and how we've had success before, is I'll work on starting a little project, and then the team will bring in more resources and really help my weaknesses with the strengths of the company, so we can really grow a
Mm.
product. So right now we're working on delivering and executing on our education goals, particularly for post-acute care. And those are really my day-to-day functionalities, and as well as the vision. The vision of the future of the company is really to continue on with helping not just with staffing short-term needs, but deliver with these optimizations that nursing homes, assisted living facilities, post-acute rehabs out there can really help their internal workforce, and whatever it is that we can help with from a technology, whether it be scheduling your own staff, creating your own per diem pool, creating the onboarding and training that's really standardized, that everybody that comes in, regardless whether they're an agency staff, a per diem staff that's working for your organization, your full-time staff, how do we focus on those specific quality interventions really to create the best outcomes? So that's where I'm going, from personally within my day-to-day role, and also what we think about the company as the future.
It's amazing. Wow. That's a lot of big vision. I'm curious for one more thing. I think we're almost done with, because the interview is about 15 minutes. I think you can talk my song on that. But I am curious, how do you see this fitting into the bigger part of nursing? Where do you see nursing going as a whole, right? And how does that fit into it? I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I see nursing being a lot of nurse hackers coming on, nurse
Mm,
innovators that are coming on, and I see so many nurses out there that are specializing in different type of solutions that can really push forward our profession. So with me, I was focusing on, you know, just having somebody replace me when I came in. So I didn't have to stay for 16, 20 hours. I see others that are working on virtual reality.
mhm.
And, I
Yeah.
see that being a gigantic leap forward compared to standing in front of somebody or sitting in front of somebody that's talking and you're falling asleep in classroom. And that's kind of the learner I am, and I need some real interaction.
Right.
So I see these different interventions, these solutions, these innovations from these nurse entrepreneurs that are coming out. And I think that there's just so many opportunities for nurses to disrupt the status quo and really to take nurse into a more efficient practice that ultimately will make our jobs easier, make patient care better, and just make everything work like we want it to work. Right now, there's so many barriers, roadblocks, so many things that get in the way of our day-to-day job. And I think now, I think innovation is picking up. I think that entrepreneurship is picking up. And I think with the right mentorship and the right team, there's nothing that can stop nurses from really making our profession so much more efficient and so much better outcomes with the limited resources that we have. So I think that that's the future of nursing is innovation.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love nursing innovation, as you well know, right? It's one thing it's dear to my heart as well. How can nurses get in touch with you who are curious? That's one thing. And also with your company, IntelyCare, I would love to hear the website. And then I guess the last question I have for you is taking away, right, for nurses. What is a tip for nurses? And I really would love to have that nurse that is thinking about innovation, that is thinking about entrepreneurship. You've talked about having the passion but what is really but what can I do today? What is that first step? Any kind of tips or advice you have for nurses in that one?
Sure. So first, to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. I think that's really the only social platform I'm on. Chris Caufield, RN, NPC, I think is my name there. Our company website, IntelyCare.com, IntelyCare.com. And the tip, I think, for anyone interested in innovation, nurse entrepreneurship, is to find a mentor. And that mentor could be a group. Santiel is a great group out there that you can join for other nurse innovators and entrepreneurship, and that will get you going. Join a nurse hackathon, and then you'll find mentors within there, and you'll find a team of others that are hacking and innovating. Or, if you're starting a company, go out there and find a mentor that has already built a company. And it could be a healthcare company, it could be another company that they've grown and they've built great teams. But really the biggest tip is to find somebody else or another group that has done it before, and then just ask questions, get recommendations, and realize that other individuals out there that have had more success are just going to help you succeed in your mission.
Beautiful. I love that. And we'll put those websites down here, the one that you mentioned, right? Hackathons. I know you've done several hackathons as well, right? It's one of the things to really network, I think, more than anything else, right?
It's a great experience. It's a great experience for somebody that wants to learn, to innovate. And I love joining them. And I don't think I'll probably never become an advisor of a hackathon, because I always want to join and actually participate. So anyone out there that's looking for a good participant in your next hackathon, reach out to me. I'd love to join a good idea and see what we can do with it.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, thanks so much, Chris. Thanks for coming on Nurse Outside the Box. Thanks for everything you're doing for nursing. It's amazing. And I think you're such an example of what is possible for a nurse and in terms of growing and in the profession. So thank you so much. Any kind of last tips you want to leave before we end this call? I thank you again. It's been wonderful.
Well, thanks so much for Anne-Marie. It was great talking to you, and I look forward to seeing the nurse innovators continue to hack their processes and have success.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
And guys, for everybody who's listening, listen to the next episode and please share this episode. Share it to a friend, to another nurse. Some nurse needs to hear this, and who knows, you might encourage the next nurse entrepreneur who's just like Chris, having a major company, or you might be the one to actually do that. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.